Hello, welcome to my birthday week episode. I just dropped my son off at the airport. He is heading down to Florida with his dad, and it was so bittersweet, if I'm being honest. Bittersweet because I have been craving just no responsibilities. And I think every mom can probably relate to that. We love our kids and adore them so much, and they fill up all of our heart. But at the same time, we would never say no to a rest, to a break, to doing something without also thinking, I need to get a sitter, or will my husband be able to take care of this or that in the way that I do, right? We get in our heads about all of this stuff. So, to be honest, it's very nice not having him here to be able to do whatever I want, whenever I want, for a brief moment in time. But at the same time, of course, my heart aches without him here. He really did not want to go. It was so sad because when I picked him up from daycare last week, I had reminded the teachers that it was his last day in daycare for 2 weeks, basically. The teachers were like, "That's right. Are you excited to see your daddy, or are you excited to go to Florida?" And Griffin was just pouting and said, "I don't want to go. I don't want to see daddy." Hopefully, he or his sisters or everyone are not listening to this. But it was so sad. And he just kept saying that. And I think he really just feels so comfortable with me and doesn't want to leave me, his comfort space. When I dropped him off at the airport this morning, he was so brave because I know he doesn't want to go. When he was walking away, he was holding his hand, his little hand, in his dad's hand, and he kept looking back at me and blowing me kisses or waving, and it was just so sweet. Uh, so that was my morning. I tried going to a coffee house afterwards to work, and I lasted, I think, 45 minutes or an hour. And then I just closed my laptop because I was like, nothing productive is getting done. My head is just clouded today. I'm just going to make today a lighthearted day, doing what feels good. And I thought, what would feel fun for me is recording this podcast episode because it's airing during my birthday week. And what I've learned is popular right now is podcast shows doing an episode called Would You Rather, where you ask the question, Would you rather? And then you have two different options and you choose. Now, I'm not sure if this is typically for two people, like co hosts asking this. I have only listened to one other podcast that does this, and they do have two co hosts. So that might be the trend, but I'm going to do it on my own. The fun part, though, is two things. One, I used AI to come up with questions that are on brand for journal entries for this podcast. And I have not read them yet. So you're going to be getting my candid responses. And then the second thing that I think is fun is I will have a post or carousel or something where you can go to my social media to look at the questions. And then I would love for you to play along with me. Message me your answers on Instagram at samantha.s.says, or if we're friends on Facebook, message me there. If you're not friends with me on social media yet, I will include both of those links in the show notes. Feel free to add me wherever and message me so that you can tell me what you would rather do. All right, so let's get into our questions. These questions are all for working moms, and they get really real. At least that's how I prompted my AI tool. I was telling it that I am a working mom and that most of my listeners, I believe, are working moms, and how I want these to be some of them funny and just really authentic. So we'll see what it comes up with, but I feel like there are so many near impossible choices. So the first round is work-life balance scenarios. Would you rather have a completely uninterrupted workday but come home to absolute chaos, or have a stressful workday with constant interruptions, but come home to a clean, peaceful house? Ooh. So, uninterrupted workday, but absolute chaos, or stressful workday, but clean, peaceful house. I mean, neither sound good if I'm being honest. I feel like that's what my life was before the balance that I have now, the quote unquote balance. If I had to choose, I feel like I would choose stressful workday with a clean, peaceful house. Because that way, I just feel like clean, peaceful house, more people would get the best of me. More people that matter the most would get the best of me. Okay, number two. Would you rather have your work schedule perfectly aligned with your kids' schedules, but opposite of your spouse's? Or have to occasionally work nights and holidays, but have more family time together overall? This is tricky for me purely because I don't have a spouse. Maybe I'll try and picture myself when I do have a supportive partner. Yeah, I think I would want family time. And I don't know that I would mind working nights given what I do. Like, if working nights meant, you know, my laptop in bed or late night calls where my partner is looking after the kids, that's very different than like going into an office or a stock room overnight. So, doing what I do, I would say working nights and holidays. Ooh, holidays, that's tricky. Man, I am indecisive. This could be a long episode. Okay, I'll just settle on occasionally working nights and holidays, but have more family time together overall. And I mean, let's be honest, I'm not spending Easter with my kid this holiday, but we celebrated early. So there we go. I'll settle with that. Would you rather have a boss who expects immediate email responses at all hours, but gives you flexibility to attend all of your kids' events? Or a boss who respects after hours boundaries, but is rigid about in office hours during school performances? So basically, that second one is when you're off the clock, you're off the clock, but you can't leave the office for things. I would definitely rather have a boss who gives me the flexibility, even if I had to send emails at all hours, I think. Being there for my kids' events and whatnot is more important to me. I'm curious what everyone else would say because I don't think it's wrong to not want to be sending emails at all hours. That can be so draining. Moving to the next section, it says daily dilemmas. Would you rather be caught up on laundry for an entire month but have a completely chaotic email inbox, or have inbox zero but mountains of laundry that never seems to disappear? Um, I would say be caught up on laundry for an entire month, but a chaotic email inbox because my email inbox is chaotic and laundry is never caught up for me. I always have mountains of laundry. Even when I just do laundry, it's like there's another mountain and there's just two of us. There's one and a half of us, me and a 4.5-year-old. How? I don't get it. So, yeah, that's what I would choose. Although this was actually a question that was asked on the podcast that I was listening to, and both girls chose the other one. They said an inbox of zero, but laundry that never seems to disappear. Number 5, would you rather listen to Baby Shark on repeat for an entire 8-hour workday or sit through a quarterly budget meeting where everyone reads their slides word for word and asks, can everyone see my screen every 5 minutes? Oh my gosh, that makes me laugh because I picture my corporate days and I feel like I can picture that. Exactly. Yeah, I can picture that happening. Um, I don't know why this is so tough for me. I feel like it depends what I do for work. If I'm doing what I do now, listening to Baby Shark, that would be super annoying. If I was in a quarterly budget meeting where everyone is reading their slides word for word, asking, can everyone see my screen? I could picture myself falling asleep. I remember being in meetings like that where this might be gross. I don't know. I would lick my fingertips and then rub the wet rub the wetness on my eyelids to try and keep myself awake. I would do that in high school when I was falling asleep during classes, as well as work meetings when I was just falling asleep. So random. Um I guess you can turn your volume down on Baby Shark. I'm going to say Baby Shark on repeat for an entire 8-hour workday. Done. Next is embarrassing moments. Would you rather your child scream an inappropriate bedroom phrase during your in law's anniversary dinner, or accidentally reply all to your entire company with a message meant for your pediatrician about your child's digestive issues? I would probably do the accidentally reply all to my company with my child's digestive issues, because that can be explained and anybody else who's a mom would be like, "Oh, I've been there." Whereas the in-laws inappropriate bedroom phrase would be super embarrassing, I think. This was another question though on a different podcast, and one of the girls said she would be like mortified with her company hearing about her child's digestive issues. And I remember thinking, what? Really? The next question, would you rather your toddler give you a surprise haircut while you're on a Zoom call, or give themselves a haircut right before professional family photos? If you're listening to the podcast, you can't see, but I just like covered my mouth. This is a tough one. I'm going to say I would rather have them give themselves a haircut right before family photos, because I think that's more expected and would be a funny family memory than giving me a surprise haircut. That would, yeah, I would be not cool with that if my hair was damaged. And on a Zoom call, that is hilarious. That I think I would laugh out loud. I'm just picturing that actually happening. I would laugh at first and then be in shock. I probably wouldn't say anything. I'd be in that shock state. But yeah, I would rather have my kids. Oh my gosh. I don't know if anyone remembers this. I don't even know if I mentioned it on the podcast, but my son was with his dad one time and his grandma decided to give Griffin a haircut. I don't know what the situation was or how this happened, but it looked like Griffin cut his own hair. And oh my gosh, it like it was so bad and it lasted months. They even took him to a hairstylist afterwards to try and fix it. And oh God, it was bad. I look back at photos and I'm always reminded of that time. Anyways, let's move on to the next one. Would you rather have your kid interrupt your most important presentation of the year with, "Mom, Mom, I need to poop right now," or have your camera accidentally turn on during a team meeting while you're still in your pajama top with perfect professional makeup? I would rather have the camera accidentally turn on with perfect makeup, but my PJ top on. Because if it's the most important presentation of the year, I want that to go well. It's important for a reason. Like, I want something to happen after that means something to me. And I actually hate being interrupted. I journaled on this once because I was constantly getting interrupted during my morning routine. And so I journaled on what are all of the things that I would love to do during my ideal morning routine. And then what are the things that I wouldn't mind being interrupted doing. And I readjusted my morning routine so that I did the things that I could not be interrupted with first, and the things that I didn't mind being interrupted with last, knowing that Griffin would likely be interrupting me at some point during the end. So, for example, things like visualization. When you're visualizing or meditating, you can't be pulled out of that if you're really into it. Like, you don't want to be. And so I did that first. Even journaling, I don't like being interrupted journaling, especially when you get into a flow. So I did that second. But something like reading a personal development book, I don't mind getting interrupted when reading because I could just put it down and start reading later on and pick up where I left off. So I did that last. And to be honest, I barely even got to reading before I got interrupted. So yeah, I would rather have my most important presentation of the year go smoothly. Next and last section is fantasy choices. Ooh, okay. Would you rather have a personal chef who packs lunches and makes dinner every day, or a chauffeur who handles all drop offs and pickups? Right now, Griffin doesn't require many drop offs and pickups. I have a friend, Ashley, who, well, now her older son drives, but her kids are just in a lot of things. And she's like always driving somewhere, I feel like. But right now, I don't. I would 100% hands down have a personal chef who does lunches and dinners, not just for Griffin, but for me. I have the laziest lunches sometimes. Sometimes it's leftovers. Sometimes I just go into the kitchen and roam, go through my pantry, see what I can find. And yeah, sometimes I don't eat lunch. It's not great. So that personal chef would be just as helpful for me as it would be for trying to find foods that Griffin would eat. Would you rather wake up fully dressed and ready for the day, hair, makeup, outfit all done while you slept, or have your kids magically able to get themselves completely ready without any assistance? Definitely have my kids magically able to get themselves ready without assistance. Definitely. It takes so long to get Griffin ready. I am so grateful that Griffin is out of the season of life where he resisted getting dressed. He would literally have a meltdown every day when it was time to get dressed. He would never want to wear anything. It was a battle every morning. I did get a tip if anyone is struggling with that to get them dressed at night so that in the morning you don't have to change them. And luckily, Griffin still just likes wearing what he calls cozy pants, basically just sweatpants instead of jeans. So it made sense. So I just put him in sweatpants and a regular shirt to bed. And then when he woke up, he was dressed for daycare. So that did work well. Now he doesn't have a meltdown with getting dressed, but it is a struggle to get him to get dressed and I'm still the one putting on all of his clothes with his shoes. He can probably do a lot of this himself. What we're doing lately is racing. So I'll say, it's time for mommy to get dressed. Do you want me to get dressed first and then you to get dressed? Or do you want to race and see who can do it fastest? And he wants to race. So that has been a good way to get him to start getting dressed himself. But to be honest, I don't really get ready for the day. So my hair, makeup, outfit does not take that long. So that's an easy answer. Second to last question. Would you rather never have to attend another icebreaker exercise in a work meeting again, or never have to remind your kids to brush their teeth again? I'm going to say never have to remind my kids to brush their teeth again. Because again, that's another battle. Not too bad, to be honest. I've seen, like, in TV shows, they make it sound awful. And yeah, it's not that bad. I make a game out of it every single time, but it's draining to make a game out of it every single time. I feel like it would be nice to just have my kids be able to brush their teeth. And honestly, I kind of like icebreakers. I don't know. Am I the only one who likes icebreakers? I actually led an icebreaker. I've led lots of icebreakers. Oh my gosh, do people not like icebreakers? I'm the one making people do them, and everyone's like rolling their eyes in the back of their head. Last question. Would you rather have a week without Wi Fi, meaning no TV, tablets, and you'd need to use your hotspot for work? Or 6 months where your kids catch every minor illness that comes through daycare or school? Wait, 6 months where your kids catch every minor illness? Hell no. I'd rather have a week without Wi Fi. No TV, no tablets. Yeah, I mean, Griffin does rely, I should say, I rely on Griffin's tablet. As a single mom, I have no shame in relying on the tablet and TV. But we don't need it. Hotspot for work. I pay for that already. Yeah, I don't like illnesses. Yep, that's an easy one for me. A week without Wi Fi. I am so curious what your answers are. So, again, head to my social media, either Instagram or Facebook, and look at whatever social media graphic I post. I still have yet to create it. And then send me a DM with your answers, at least a couple of them that pop out to you. But I want to get real for just a second. What all of these scenarios have in common is that they highlight some of the impossible juggling acts that we do as a working mom, and that constant feeling of being pulled in multiple directions at once. I mean, a lot of these we don't have the choice of doing. We just have to do all of it. Like that one that said, would you rather have somebody else make all of the meals or be the chauffeur? We do all of it most likely. But I want to share, or maybe just remind you, that you also don't have to choose between being successful at work and loving what you do, icebreakers or not, and being present with your family. Really being there, feeling like you're able to disconnect from work and then engage at home, showing up, being there physically and emotionally, and having a full heart. You could excel at work with clarity and focus and pride, then seamlessly transition to being fully present and patient at home instead of reactive and depleted. The women that I work with in the Peace and Confidence Collective tell me that that's exactly what they are working towards and also experiencing. They're no longer collapsing into bed at the end of the day feeling depleted. Instead, they're learning to set clear boundaries that honor both their professional goals and their personal lives. They're learning to transition between work and home mentally, not just physically. They're learning to stay regulated when things get chaotic because they will. And nervous system regulation is not about always being calm, always feeling inner peace. It's about your nervous system spiking and getting out of whack, and then being able to regulate it, ideally quickly and in a timely manner, in a way that feels like you experience something uncomfortable and then you were able to get back to a calm state without you spiraling the whole day. And most importantly, they're ending the day with energy still in their tanks, which allows them to wake up the next day not burdened from the day before, but with inspiration. If you are tired of the impossible choices and being pulled in all of the directions and ready to learn how to do all of those things and to feel fulfilled in all of your roles. I almost said both of your roles, but all of your roles of career and motherhood and your own goals, your own self. I want to open up spots into my Peace and Confidence Collective. So far, this has been invite only. I'm not sure if I will mention this on the podcast again. I'm just dropping this here just for this special episode. But if you want to learn more about the Peace and Confidence Collective, which is my small group coaching, head to the link in the show notes or DM me on social media to let me know that you're interested, and we can chat all about the details, no strings attached. And don't forget to send me your answers to today's Would You Rather questions. I'll be sharing mine on Instagram this week as well. Thank you for playing with me this week. Thursday's episode is all about journaling your way back to excitement. So check that out if you're interested. Otherwise, I'll talk to you next week.